Hello there, welcome. Today we're diving headfirst into the tumultuous world of the car market crash of 2024. A time of chaos and uncertainty, the seeds of this crash were sown long before the event itself. Firstly, let's talk about the economic indicators. The year leading up to the crash was marked by a volatile economy. Inflation was on the rise and consumer spending was waning. This caused a ripple effect in various sectors, including the automobile industry. Then came the policy changes. Governments around the globe were pushing for a more eco-friendly future. This led to stricter emission standards and regulations, which put a significant strain on traditional car manufacturers. The shift towards green energy was not an easy transition and certainly played a part in the unfolding of the crisis. The market trends too were shifting. Consumers were becoming more conscious of their carbon footprint and were leaning towards electric vehicles. This shift was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it was a step towards a more sustainable future. On the other hand, it disrupted the status quo of the car market, leading to instability. Now, let's not forget the role of electric vehicles and autonomous cars. These were no longer just concepts, but a reality. They were gaining popularity, but the infrastructure and technology were still catching up. This mismatch between supply and demand created a bubble that was bound to burst. Lastly, there was a surge in car loans and financing options. Easy availability of credit led to overconsumption. People were buying cars they couldn't afford, and when the bubble burst, they were left with a debt they couldn't pay. These factors, intertwined and feeding off each other, set the stage for a crisis like no other. With the stage set, let's delve into the day the car market crashed. As dawn broke on that fateful day, the car market was teetering on the edge. But no one, not even the most seasoned analysts, could have predicted the events that were about to unfold. The morning started off like any other, with traders and investors buzzing around, oblivious of the storm that was brewing. But as the hours rolled on, the first signs of trouble began to appear. Share prices of leading car manufacturers started to tumble, and a sense of unease began to ripple through the market. This was no ordinary fluctuation, it was a freefall. Share prices weren't just falling, they were plummeting. Panic set in as investors scurried to offload their holdings, but it was too late. The market was crashing, and it was crashing hard. The chaos was not confined to the trading floors. Car showrooms turned into ghost towns as customers stayed away, gripped by the uncertainty. Manufacturing plants around the world came to a grinding halt, their futures hanging in the balance. The once vibrant industry was now staring at an abyss. As the day drew to a close, the scale of the devastation became clear. Billions of dollars had been wiped off the market. Companies that had once stood as pillars of the industry were reduced to rubble. Jobs were lost, and livelihoods were shattered. It was a day of reckoning, a day that would go down in history as the day the car market crashed. But as the dust settled, the reality of the situation began to sink in. The car industry had not just taken a hit, it had been brought to its knees. There was a sense of disbelief, a feeling of being lost as the industry grappled with the magnitude of the crash. In the wake of the crash, the car industry found itself in uncharted territory. The aftermath of the crash was a challenging time for the car industry. This statement alone might not fully capture the magnitude of the situation. The car market crash of 2024 was like a fierce storm that left behind a trail of devastation. Car manufacturers, who once ruled the roost, found themselves in a dire situation. Their assembly lines, once buzzing with activity, fell eerily silent. The crash led to a significant drop in car production, and this rippled across the entire industry. Dealerships, which were once filled with shiny new cars and hopeful buyers, turned into ghost towns overnight. For employees, the aftermath was particularly harsh. Many faced layoffs, and those who managed to hold on to their jobs had to grapple with pay cuts and an uncertain future. Consumers too felt the brunt of the crash. Those who had been planning to buy a car had to put their plans on hold, while others found themselves stuck with vehicles whose value had depreciated significantly. The government naturally could not sit idly by as the industry crumbled. It stepped in with measures aimed at reviving the car market, Bailouts were offered to struggling manufacturers and incentives were provided to consumers to encourage them to buy cars. However, the effectiveness of these measures was a topic of much debate. Some argued that they were merely a band-aid solution, while others believed they were necessary to prevent the industry from collapsing entirely. The crash left the car industry reeling, but it also opened the door for change. This was a wake-up call for manufacturers to rethink their strategies and adapt to a changing market. It was a chance for them to innovate, to explore new technologies and business models. The aftermath of the crash, as challenging as it was, set the stage for a new chapter in the history of the car industry. In response to the crash, the car industry had to adapt and innovate. The industry, known for its resilience, was put to the test like never before. With traditional business models collapsing under the weight of the crisis, the car industry had no choice but to pivot. This period saw a wave of creative destruction. Out of the ashes of the old, new business models emerged, designed to weather the storm and thrive in the new economic landscape. Subscription-based services, for instance, became the new norm. Instead of purchasing a car outright, consumers could now subscribe to a service, paying a monthly fee for access to a vehicle. This model provided much-needed flexibility for consumers and a steady stream of revenue for car companies. Technological innovation also played a pivotal role in the industry's response to the crash. Electric vehicles, which were already on the rise before the crash, gained significant traction. With their lower operational costs and environmental benefits, they offered a compelling alternative to traditional gas-guzzling cars. Autonomous vehicles too saw an uptick in development and adoption, offering a tantalizing glimpse into the future of transportation. Government policies were instrumental in supporting the industry during this challenging time. Incentives for buying electric vehicles, subsidies for research and development, and bailout packages for struggling companies helped the industry regain its footing. The industry's response was not just about survival. It was about seizing the opportunity to rethink and reshape the way we approach mobility. It was a reminder that even in the most challenging times, the car industry has the capacity to innovate, adapt, and evolve. In the face of adversity, the car industry showed resilience and ingenuity. The crash of 2024 was a catalyst for change, pushing the industry towards a more sustainable, resilient, and customer-centric future. As we move forward, these lessons will continue to guide the industry's evolution, ensuring it remains at the forefront of technological and societal change. The road to recovery was not easy, but it was necessary. Just as the sun rises after the darkest of nights, so too did the car industry begin to find its way back from the depths of the 2024 crash. The recovery was a process, a journey that required the collective efforts of many. The industry, government, and consumers each played a critical role in this process. The industry took a hard look at itself, reassessing its practices and making necessary changes. Manufacturers began focusing more on quality rather than quantity, seeking to create vehicles that were not only desirable, but reliable and sustainable. The government too played its part. They implemented policies to stimulate the industry, providing incentives for consumers to invest in new vehicles. They also invested in infrastructure, making it easier for people to own and operate vehicles. This created a ripple effect, boosting not only the car industry but the economy as a whole. Consumers, the lifeblood of the industry, also contributed to the recovery. Driven by the desire for more sustainable options and the convenience of modern technology, they embraced the rise of electric and autonomous vehicles. These vehicles offered a glimpse into the future, a future where cars were not just a means of transport, but an integral part of a sustainable lifestyle. The rise of electric and autonomous vehicles was more than just a trend. It was a revolution. It was a revolution that was driven by the desire for a more sustainable and efficient mode of transport. This shift not only helped the industry recover, but it also paved the way for a more sustainable and resilient car industry. The recovery process was not without its challenges. There were bumps along the road, obstacles that needed to be overcome. But with each challenge came an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to learn and improve. And that's exactly what the industry did. It learned from its mistakes, it adapted, it evolved. The recovery was a collective effort paving the way for a more sustainable and resilient car industry. It was a testament to the human spirit, to our ability to adapt and overcome. It was a reminder that even in the face of adversity, we can rise, we can recover, and we can come back stronger than before. The car market crash of 2024 taught us many lessons. In the wake of the crash, it became clear that resilience was more than just a buzzword. It was the lifeblood of an industry grappling with unprecedented challenges. We learned that resilience isn't about bouncing back to the old ways. It's about bouncing forward, adapting and evolving to meet the changing landscape. It's about companies being agile, embracing change, and not being afraid to pivot their strategies when needed. We also saw the power of innovation. In the face of adversity, the industry didn't just survive, it thrived by innovating. New business models emerged. Traditional manufacturers started to think more like tech companies, and tech companies began to think more like car manufacturers. The lines blurred, and the industry evolved. And then there was the lesson of sustainability. The crash was a wake-up call, a stark reminder that the old ways of doing things were not sustainable. It drove home the point that we needed to shift our focus from short-term gains to long-term sustainability. Companies that had already started on this path found themselves better positioned to weather the storm. Those that hadn't found themselves playing catch-up. The crash also taught us about the interconnectedness of the global economy. A ripple in one part of the world can create waves elsewhere. It underscored the need for global cooperation and coordination in times of crisis. Lastly, we learned about the importance of transparency and trust. In the aftermath of the crash, companies that were upfront, honest and transparent about their challenges were the ones that retained the trust of their customers and stakeholders. These lessons serve as a guide for the future, helping us avoid similar crises. They remind us that in the face of adversity, we can find opportunities for growth and transformation. They underscore the importance of resilience, innovation and sustainability, not just in the car industry, but in every industry. Looking forward, the future of the car industry is promising. As we turn our gaze to the horizon, let's take a moment to imagine the landscapes of tomorrow's automotive world. A world where technology, sustainability and innovation aren't just buzzwords, but the very pillars that shape the industry. In the wake of the 2024 car market crash, technology has emerged as a beacon of resilience. We're seeing cars that are smarter, safer, and more connected than ever before. With advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning, autonomous driving is no longer a distant dream, but a rapidly approaching reality. And it's not just about convenience, but also about enhancing safety, reducing congestion, and improving efficiency. But technology alone isn't enough. The future of the car industry hinges on its commitment to sustainability. Electric vehicles, once viewed as a niche segment, are now at the forefront of this transition. Powered by renewable energy sources, these cars are not just eco-friendly, but also cost-effective in the long run. The industry's shift towards circular economy practices like recycling and reusing is also a testament to its dedication to a greener future. Innovation, though, is the force that propels the industry forward. It's about reimagining the very concept of mobility. Think flying cars, hyperloops, and even space travel. While these might seem like sci-fi fantasies today, remember that once upon a time, so did the idea of a self-driving car. Every crisis is an opportunity for change, and the car market crash of 2024 was no exception. It was a wake-up call, a catalyst for transformation. It compelled the industry to evolve, to adapt, and to innovate, and the results are evident. Today, the car industry stands stronger, smarter, and more sustainable than ever before. The car industry, having weathered the storm, is poised for a bright and sustainable future. So there you have it, an in-depth look at the car market crash of 2024. We've traversed the path that led to the crash, witnessed the day it all came crumbling down, and surveyed the aftermath. We've evaluated the response, the road to recovery, and the lessons that we've learned from this event. We've even peeked into what the future might hold. The importance of understanding such economic events and their impacts cannot be overstated. They shape economies, influence policies, and can have wide-ranging effects on our day-to-day lives. By examining events like the car market crash of 2024, we equip ourselves with the knowledge to better navigate the financial landscape, whether we are industry veterans or just getting started. We hope you found this video informative and engaging. If you did, please subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell. We appreciate your support. Before we wrap up, we have some questions for you. What's your take on the car market crash of 2024? How do you think it has impacted our economy, our lifestyle, or even your personal life? Were you surprised by the crash, or did you see it coming? We understand that this event has had a profound impact on many people, and we're eager to hear your experiences and perspectives. So let's start a conversation in the comments below. This isn't just about sharing information, it's about learning from each other. So whether you're a financial novice or a seasoned expert, your opinion matters. We're looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And remember, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching.